little trophy that they give. Attended the Prevention Coalition on the 16th, talked about Survivors Day, and it looks like they're here tonight to talk more about things like that and sources of strength. And I did attend the Glow Walk on the 17th at the Young at Heart. It was pretty fun, pretty moving. About the same size as last year, is what Melinda was saying. So it was very, very nice, warmer, and they cut it in half, so it wasn't as long of a walk.
Yeah, I've just been reading about the Old Timer Civic Center Committee, getting ready for my new liaison role for that, and starting communications with them this latest.
Very good.
I've recently been appointed to the board of directors for the Young at Heart Senior Center. I've been working with them and trying to develop and get things going with them. They're running into the same problems that everybody is as far as finances and volunteers and aging facilities. So those seem to be very reoccurring topic with a lot of people and a lot of companies and businesses and places around town. So I've been working on that stuff.
Thank you, sir.
I have kind of a short list. I did attend a meeting for the building committee where we discussed upcoming leases and renewals for some building leases within the city.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, what I did is I attended the URA New Year's Eve Gala, which will be December 31st. I'm on that committee. I did also attend the Chamber of Commerce luncheon, which dealt with food insecurity, and that Sweetwater County is number 3 in food insecurities in our community. I also gave out food at the food pantry on Saturday.
Good deal. Yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks within the community. I went to the J Foundation, had a fundraiser with the Eagles, and pretty good turnout there. They had a nice meal, and the kids are really making a push to make that happen for the senior class. Over the weekend, we had the Power of the Pink Barrel Race out at the Events Complex. That started Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And we had participants from Montana, Colorado, Utah, all over. It was a really good event that they put on, and we're able to give money back to the community. On Thursday night, the volleyball team for the high school, they have the Dig Pink fundraiser, and that is where Rock Springs will be playing Green River, and that starts at 4 o'clock. Had the building committee meeting with Rob and Eric, and we met and discussed the contract for the food bank, Eves, and the URA with Chad Banks. He came in. Went to the Tigers football game and a lot of volleyball. Those seasons are wrapping up and getting ready to kick off the basketball season. So a lot going on in the community. If you get out there and participate in it, everybody enjoys it and looks forward to the next event.
Okay. Thank you. So on October 13th, I attended a URA meeting. I'm the liaison to that. One thing that's nice about being a liaison to them, they have a lot of stuff going on. One thing I want to highlight before I forget, next Tuesday night, October 28th, there is a movie that will be they'll be showing down there that'll be highlighting our Trona miners. So I encourage everyone to go to that. The other thing is they secured a $10,000 Union Pacific Community local grant for the chairlift in there to make the necessary upgrades. Also, all the counselors here and the mayor received an email from Danielle Salas concerning volunteering upcoming events. So I just encourage all council members and the mayor to volunteer to those events at the Broadway Theater, to network with the public, hear their concerns if they have any, and it would be emceeing and potentially guest bartending, so which some of you may like. So again, I met with the buildings committee. I won't reiterate what happened there. I did ask for an update on the Civic Center, and it appears that we're still waiting for that study to come back. And just been working with constituents, have received numerous nuisance violations, and I have forwarded those to the appropriate department head. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I've spent the last 2 weeks fighting off all the savage attacks that I've had from the last council meeting.
Thank you. So since the last council meeting, I have met with the Daughters of the American Revolution regarding a potential plaque to be added to our community with Rock Springs Rotary Club, who were looking for acts of service that they could do for our community. The building committee, obviously routine business meeting with department heads, employees, and constituents. I virtually attended a meeting with the Ombudsman of Public Information through the governor's office, looking at Freedom of Information Act requests and how that process can be improved. I also attended virtually the State Gaming Commission, and I see Senator Kolb is here this evening. So I expect to hear more about that, specifically looking to be a resource if they needed comments on the importance of local control over gambling establishments in our communities. I attended the semi-quincentennial meeting that was coordinated by Janissa Meredith of Sweetwater Travel and Tourism. As we're approaching the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we're wanting to go big, and so we're trying to make sure that all the different entities are planning events and not duplicating events. And then I met with leadership from both the UMWA and the IAFF, and I also attended the YWCA Domestic Violence Awareness event, although I did not walk. It may have been warmer, but it was still too cold for me. And then my family and I volunteered at the Mobile Food Pantry, and I don't know if you haven't been there, it is really one of the coolest things that you can do in this community. There must have been 200 cars waiting for food. And this was a particularly great one. There was milk, there was fruit, there was fresh vegetables. Like, it was great. And you want to talk about a activity that you can do in 2 hours that really makes an impact on the lives of our everyday folks here in town. And it's fun. People are happy. We had the Rock Springs Miners junior hockey team was there helping, and some Saturdays there's 15 people scrambling to do everything, and this was one of those where everybody was trying to find a job. So I'd really encourage folks to participate in that. And then this Friday, if you want to see me squinting and singed, I'll be grilling burgers at the Tigers football tailgate party. So I'll be flipping burgers, and I promise not to give anybody food poisoning intentionally. So very good. Now that takes us to our next section of our business meeting, which is the consent agenda. First up, we have the City Council meeting minutes of October 7th, 2025. The Sweetwater County Joint Travel and Tourism Board appointing Julia Rubel to her first term, and then the Old Timers Civic Center Nonprofit Committee appointing Larry Hickerson as liaison.
Hold.
Okay, we have the Health Insurance Fund recap from September 2025. And the specific purpose tax meeting minutes of September 8th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
so moved.
Okay, so that's moving everything forward except for 2B. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilor Hickerson with the second. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, that motion carries unanimously, and I would now look for a motion for 2B. Councilor Zadi?
I'll move to approve 2B.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll give Pedri for the second. Is there any, since we've held this, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Hickerson abstaining. That brings us to presentations and proclamations. This evening we have 2 proclamations. The first is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Is there anyone here representing that group? Okay. Seeing no one, I'll just move forward. Approximately 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage, stillbirth, or the loss of a newborn, and countless families across our country and nation have suffered such a heartbreaking loss. The loss of a child, no matter how early in pregnancy or how soon after birth, is a profound and deeply personal experience that leaves a lasting impact on parents, siblings, extended families, and communities. For too long, these experiences of grief and mourning have been kept in the shadows, leaving many parents and families to grieve in silence and isolation. Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month provides an opportunity to support bereaved families, increase public awareness of the causes and impact of pregnancy and infant loss, and promote initiatives that offer support, education, and research to prevent future loss. We honor the memories of those lost far too soon, and we stand with the families who carry their love and memory every day, offering them compassion, understanding, and the assurance that they are not alone. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Max Mickelson, Mayor of the City of Rock Springs, do hereby declare the month of October 2025 to be Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month in the City of Rock Springs, and encourage all citizens to join in honoring the lives of those lost and supporting the families who have experienced such loss through understanding, education, and compassion. Okay, you may notice that there's a lot of pink in the room. President Demas suggested that when we are declaring a proclamation for a month, that we try to coordinate and show the colors in support of that. And breast cancer awareness came up first, so we're looking pretty in pink. At least some of us are.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
You can't see it, but
Oh, very nice.
hidden by my,
Yeah.
but I do have a pink tie.
Unfortunately, in my case, no matter what color you put on me, I won't be very pretty. Is there anyone here for this particular group? Okay. While considerable progress has been made in the fight against breast cancer, it remains the most commonly diagnosed cancer and the second leading cause of cancer death among women in the United States. In 2025, it is estimated that 316,950 women and men in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and approximately 42,170 will die as a result of the disease. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, an annual campaign to encourage screenings, early detection, and to increase awareness about the disease. During this month, we reaffirm our commitment to support cancer research and to educate all citizens about its risk factors, detection, and treatment. As we display ribbons of all colors and decorate our businesses to raise awareness, we also support those courageously fighting cancer and honor the lives lost to the disease. This October, we recognize survivors, those battling the disease, their families and friends who are a tireless source of love and encouragement, and applaud the efforts of our medical professionals and researchers working to find a cure for this deadly disease. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an opportunity to unite all citizens in our community to prevent breast cancer deaths through increased education and regular screening. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Max Mickelson, Mayor of the City of Rock Springs, do hereby declare October 2025 to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Rock Springs, and we acknowledge the importance of raising awareness of breast cancer in our community as we work to support survivors, those currently battling breast cancer, and those who might detect it in its early stages. Join the effort in supporting breast cancer awareness by lighting your home or business pink during the month of October. And I will note, I actually have a very dear friend who just recently completed her chemotherapy and had surgery today to remove lymph nodes as a result of a breast cancer diagnosis. So it is shockingly prevalent. And she's doing really well, which is great. So I'm happy that went that way. Okay, that brings us to petitions and public comment. And as a part of that resolution, and sort of being more formal in our approach to how we run our meeting, when I call you up and you approach the podium, please address the body as a whole, so Your Honor and City Council, rather than individual members. And you know, we don't need to have the sort of unpleasantness that occurred in Cheyenne today in Rock Springs. I think we can do better than that. I don't know if everyone is aware, but there was a improvised explosive device found at the Capitol building today. They had to evacuate. I don't know that they've detected it, examined it to see exactly what it is, but it was serious enough that they evacuated the building, shut everything down. And both Rock Springs and America are a whole heck of a lot better than that kind of nonsense. So with that, I would invite Shay Haney. And if you will identify yourself and who you represent, I would very much appreciate it.
Okay. My name is Shay Haney. Sorry. Your Honor, City Council.
It's new. We're all going to learn together.
It's all new. My name is Shay Haney. I represent the Sweetwater County Prevention Coalition. I'm just here to talk about ordinance, I think it's 2025-16, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, the one talking about beverage service training. I do know that this is the the third reading on it, so it is going to be a vote. I did just kind of want to address, I know that there were some questions in the last meeting, and I do want to talk about that. I know that the chief was kind of concerned about our current trainer, who is for RSPD, having burnout just because he is the only one that they have. I do have another trainer here in Sweetwater County, Rock Springs, that works for Western Wyoming Beverages, and then one in Green River as well. However, I am very open to training more people that are open to wanting to be trained in it and become trainers. That is one thing. It is a strategy in our work plan that we do have, is that we want to have the opportunity for beverage service training. So we do have that money set aside so that if anybody does want to be a trainer, we have that availability. Same with making it completely free for all different liquor licenses, for all different businesses, things like that. We will provide everything, make sure it's completely free to all businesses here in Rock Springs. We had kind of talked about a different beverage service training, Mr. Mayor. It's called Serve Safe, and we just learned about it a little bit earlier this summer, so it's still kind of new. The only county that I really know that has really taken effect into it is Converse County, so it's still pretty new. What I have researched on it, and I've just got a paper right in front of me that I saw off of Tips, is for on-premise alcohol. The only thing they really offer is that it is available for all 50 states, plus the District of Columbia. For off-premise alcohol, they don't really offer it on all 50 states, which is kind of unfortunate. And then for specialized alcohol, like for gaming establishments, concessions, cruise lines, population-based, they only offer cruise lines, things like that, where Tips offers all of those things. So Serve Safe is essentially the same as Tips. There's just not as much accessibility to Serve Safe. It's becoming a little more adopted throughout the different counties, but so far it's still very, very new. I haven't had anybody kind of show interest in it yet, which is why we're still kind of like, oh, we're going to keep implementing Tips for the moment. But yeah, so far I do know Serve Safe does take about 4 hours online. I know that was a big question as well. It takes about 4 hours online. I'm not sure what the in-person version of that is. I do know that Tips training takes about 3 to 4 hours online, depending on the person, and it is a self-paced kind of a thing. And then in person, based off of what Ken Lorimer, who is our RSPD trainer, has told me, it takes about 4 to 6 hours in person. And from what he has also told me is that the in-person training is a little bit more beneficial just because they have that on-hands information. So I stand for any questions.
Very good, Council.
Your Honor. The only question I have is, you said it was free to the public. Is that going to be a long-term thing, and how is that funded?
So right now, we work under a grant that is from the Wyoming Department of Health. Obviously, with government shutdown and things like that coming on, we're not exactly sure what will happen to our future grant. Right now, this grant that we do have, it ends next June. So the last day of June next year. I'm pretty confident that we will continue to get this grant. We've had it for the last, I think, 8 years or so. So I'm confident that it will stay here. And as long as we are able to provide tips and provide beverage service training, because it is an evidence-based strategy, we will be able to provide it for the foreseeable future, as long as there's people interested, essentially.
All right, thank you.
Further questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we have Commissioner Island Richards.
Good evening, Your Honor, council members. My name is Island Richards. I'm with Kelly's Convenience Centers today, but I have all my hats. So, and while I don't live in the city of Rock Springs, I grew up here, and I operate 2 business locations within Rock Springs that hold retail liquor licenses and sell packaged liquor. My family has responsibly operated liquor stores in Rock Springs for over 40 years. During this time, I've hired and trained hundreds of employees and developed training programs and policies that emphasize real-world responsibility and compliance. I also serve on the board of directors of the Wyoming State Liquor Association. also the WSLA, including a past term as president, and I am a trained and previously certified TIPS trainer. Based on both experience and data, I oppose the proposed ordinance, say that 3 times, requiring all alcohol servers to undergo mandatory third-party training and licensing. Available research does not show that mandatory third-party alcohol server training, such as TIPS, produces a measurable improvement in compliance rates compared to management-led on-the-job training. From my experience, recently TIPS-trained employees are not better equipped to make responsible serving decisions than those trained by experienced store managers. Judgment in this business comes from experience, supervision, and accountability, not from a one-time classroom experience. Overserving is an issue, but relevant primarily to on-premise sales, bars, restaurants, and clubs, not to package retail. In package settings, employees check IDs and complete transactions. They are not monitoring consumption, though they do have to make real-time evaluations of a customer's condition. Even in on-premise settings, studies remain inconclusive about whether mandatory training has any effect on overservice or compliance, especially when compared to management-led on-the-job training. The WSLA holds the statewide contract to distribute TIPS materials, yet as an organization, we oppose mandatory TIPS training and always have. Recently, however, our relationship with TIPS has become strained since its acquisition by a new parent company. It is now extremely difficult to verify certification status or obtain updated records from TIPS, creating confusion and compliance challenges for both retailers and regulators. Additionally, TIPS online training is expensive, and the cost is not covered by the state grant, placing the entire financial burden on small businesses with no proven benefit. Another serious issue is that there are no consistent local class offerings. Access to in-person classes is limited and unpredictable, forcing employers to rely on expensive online alternatives. When local sessions are held, they are often taught by law enforcement officers who approach training from an enforcement perspective rather than from the realities of daily retail and service-oriented operations. In my professional experience, classes led by law enforcement are significantly less effective than those led by industry members. Industry-led sessions focus on practical decision-making and real customer interactions, not just citations and penalties. The ordinance would effectively force businesses into a system that provides neither accessible nor relevant training. Retailers are already capable of providing their own effective in-house training tailored to their employees and their operations, and third-party training is always an optional tool that we have available to us. There is no evidence that communities in Wyoming with mandatory training have higher compliance rates. Many such communities don't even enforce their training ordinances anymore because doing so is cumbersome, time-consuming, if not altogether impossible. Mandating training does not solve the core issue, which is enforcing existing liquor laws where violations already occur. Responsible operators are being asked to shoulder additional costs and bureaucracy without any demonstrated improvements in outcomes. For decades, local retailers and the WSLA have worked collaboratively with law enforcement and the Wyoming Liquor Division to promote responsible sales through education and accountability. Mandating third-party certifications won't improve compliance. It will only burden responsible small business with additional expense and red tape. In conclusion, I respectfully urge the City Council to reject this ordinance and instead focus on enforcing the laws already on the books, while allowing flexibility for local businesses to continue providing effective job-specific training in-house. That's all I have for you on that subject, Your Honor. Of course, I wear many hats, one of which is the Sweetwater County Commissioner, and I am always happy to stand for any questions on any subject at any time. Whether or not I have answers is a whole nother discussion, but
Very good, sir.
thank you for your time.
Council, do you have questions for Mr. Richards?
Your Honor, I do.
Councilor Demas?
Okay, you stated that it would cost, that there's no grants. The lady before you stated that she could get grant money for this.
with all due respect, they have the grant money, and there is not consistent training now. There are scattered classes. They're not regularly held. So what happens in communities without regular training is they default to online training. Online training is not covered by the state grant. WSLA has the contract for materials, and we actually provide the materials to every local community that does TIPS training, but we are looking actually as an organization at other options. We're looking at ServSafe. None of those are ready for in-community training in Wyoming yet. And for me, off-premise versus on-premise, it doesn't make sense to send somebody to a 6-hour class that 4 hours of it is spent teaching a bartender how to serve. And that is really the only option. Off-premise training is a lot shorter class, but it is typically just not available.
Well, and the concern that's been brought to me from business owners is even if there's not a cost to them for their employees to participate in the training, typically employees want to be paid. And so there's a labor cost that they have to front, and it's an additional burden, especially when they're having to compete against very large corporations and are already really struggling.
I would agree. I have over the years, as I said, I was a certified trainer. My personal experience with TIPS is after I've sent somebody to TIPS training, and we send a lot of people to TIPS training, usually through the online course, I have to retrain them after I send them to TIPS training because I think it provides them with a false sense of confidence. And I will tell you, it's been a long time since I failed an age-related compliance check. But several years ago, I had employees at 2 locations, 3 separate employees fail compliance checks in a short period of time. All 3 of those employees had been TIPS trained within a month prior to that. I've instituted tools in my stores. We ID for every single alcohol purchase. We train constantly on how to recognize an inebriated person. But it's much more effective coming from their manager than somebody in a classroom that typically isn't even in that part of the industry.
Other questions? Counselor?
Commissioner Richards, I want to thank you very much. That was very informative, and I appreciate you taking the time and sharing that knowledge with us. It was very helpful. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have
Councilor Zadi.
some comments, and thanks, Island, for sharing that. But over the last week or two, I have contacted and reached out and went and visited a number of liquor license holders and talked about this, and I do find that there are a number of them out there that do provide training, some level of training, if not TIPS, but large majority of them don't want to see a mandate, and I think that's something that I can agree with as well. Most of the business owners understand and see it as a need. If they want to protect their business, they want to remain profitable and protect their liability, then they're going to train their help and they're going to learn to serve correctly. If they don't, they're not going to be employed there much longer. That's kind of the sense I've got from most. I still want to talk to a lot more. There's a lot out there. So my intent this evening is to table this ordinance for another 2 weeks so I can continue to reach out to owners and gather some more information there as well and hopefully hear some more public feedback.
And Your Honor, if I may, TIPS was created by the industry to serve the industry. And it's frustrating when we do something for ourselves to better our industry, to teach ourselves, to train our employees, for then government to step in and say, well, great idea, we're going to make it mandatory. It doesn't incentivize industry to solve problems for itself.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker will be Senator John Kolb.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. If I do anything wrong procedurally, please inform me of my mistakes, and I'll try to do better.
It's one of my favorite things to do, Senator.
Well, hopefully we can always have a conversation, but there's a lot of things that have been going on here legislatively, and I want to say to the mayor and council, ask me anything you'd like to about legislative issues. I represent, of course, John Kolb. I represent Senate District 12, which is mostly Rock Springs and north of town. So basically, I'm your senator, frankly. That's kind of how I look at it, because I represent the town mostly. I mean, North Town's important too, but this is a good community, a big community. So some of the things we've been working on, and I'll thank Mayor Mickelson for being online during the Gaming Task Force meeting. So I'm the chairman of the Senate side for the Gaming Task Force that was set up by Management Council to deal with local control. Because frankly, I don't know how people are familiar with this, but my opinion there isn't any local control. I mean, you guys don't have any control. Nor does the Board of County Commissioners, and nor does the Gaming Commission. So there's a big hole for letting people here have a voice. So the bill that we worked on that came out of the committee, that's sponsored by me, because we can't sponsor a bill as a committee because we're a task force. So it goes to Management Council, which I will appear in front of those folks to present the bill in front of them. The bill, it's a bill draft officially, I think. The bill, what it does is it allows a voice for local communities, say cities and counties, I'll just talk about it that way, to work together. So this agreement came about by WHAM and the Wyoming County Commissioner Association worked together. That was the charge that, frankly, I gave them. Please come up with some solution that you agree to. And they did. And I thank them for it. And what that allows you to do is have commenting ability, but final authority rests with the jurisdiction where the activity is going to take place for the licensing. So if it's in the city of Rock Springs proper, you folks have final authority. And if it's in the county has final authority. The difference being is that you can comment about the county, and the county can comment about the city and what you're doing. Sometimes with different areas, they interact differently. You know, the police, law enforcement, you know, it's a big mix across the state of Wyoming. So that's I guess the idea, that we would give you guys a voice in approving or disapproving an application for a gaming permit. Now, realize that any gaming permit that we're talking about is only going to be a topic once it comes up for renewal. So we can't say your permit's no good, say it's good for 3 years. So you'll have a chance to look into that if this becomes law, and once the renewal's up. And you have to have good cause and justifiable reasons for denial. But one of them is that you think it's not socially beneficial to your community. Say a bunch of your constituents decide, you know, they don't want it anymore. And you then make a decision based on those things. So the belief is, and I say this because it's untested with the courts, is that you have an ability to deny upon your local needs. For not because you don't like Jim or Joe, but because you think it's bad for the community, for the public health, welfare, and safety of the constituents. That's really what it does. That's the intent of this bill draft. And like I say, Mayor Mickelson was involved online listening to this. I don't know if anyone else had a chance, but there's other details to this. The 100-mile rule stays in place, which I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's kind of turned into an irrelevant situation because of the nature of HHR, historical horse racing, and how it works with tracks. If you don't know it, the HHR machines, those historical horse racing, feeds the funds that go to the purses for the live horse races. So the purses have grown exponentially, which has made our horsemen's industry in the state of Wyoming really go. I mean, we got a lot more, because they have to be Wyoming bred. There's a bunch of criteria to make a horse that would race to get into that pot of money. And it's become big industry. It's millions of dollars now. And the HHR machines feed that pot. You know, there's a lot of nuances to this, but roughly that's how it's working. So the machines promote the industry. They kind of symbiotic. They work together. Now, we haven't done a lot more beyond trying to get local control. It was my charge when I asked Management Council for this gaming task force that we get that accomplished. And so we have something. I just wanted to say that to council, have you guys, if you'd like to ask questions about that. I probably want to break this up into sections, Mayor. It depends what you want to do. There's about 3 things I'd like to touch on. It's up to you, Mayor, whatever you like me to do.
If you'd like to just run through them and folks can note their questions and then refer back at the end.
Okay. Thank you. Next thing is, and this is about gaming, is our local Smiths. I don't know how much the council's aware of it, but they put skill games in the Smiths here in town, and they also did it in Riverton and Casper. Now, I was given a report by a constituent here in the county that they had witnessed underage minors using the machines. And that same person went up to an employee, I don't know who it was, and said, "Hey, what's this? This child's using the machine." And they're like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" So that's not a very good answer. Nick Laramendi with the Wyoming State Gaming Commission is somebody I work with because of this gaming task force. I gave Nick a call and said, "Nick, I think we have a problem. Could you look into it?" So Nick then deployed agents down here to investigate. And they indeed found that underage people are using these machines where strictly it's over 21. That's it. That was the agreement they had. The machines have been set on hold. They're not allowed to be used. It has to go now through it's an administrative action, to be clear, how this is going to work. They could have charged them differently, but it's administrative at this point, so there's no jail time. But it has to go to the State Gaming Commission, and they have to go through the process and finding out, well, how are you going to abate the problem, and then come up with a resolution, and they will decide on a fine. I think it's up to $10,000 for this that they could fine. I don't know what it's going to be. It's up to the Gaming Commission to do this, but they found an issue. They then consequently shut down the gaming in Casper and Riverton. I can assure you that I have other legislators that were just very, very upset seeing these games. There's a reason. The games are visible. They're visible to people under the age of 21. They're right in front of the checkout stands. I had people tell me that they went to Smith's and they had noticed these games, and their 5-year-old said, "Hey, Dad, can I go over there and play that?" Because they're designed to attract people. Well, that's not the intent of letting them have the gaming. They got into the grocery store proper, and I'll just say it's kind of a loophole, because we made an amendment to the statutes that were allowing full liquor licensed establishments to basically be more able to interact with the public, with families. Well, then the licensing is such that the entire premises, I mean, the whole footprint of the building, not just the area where liquor is stored or housed or sold, could be considered like able to be used for gaming. So an attorney in this outfit that's doing this is out of Vegas. They found out and brought it to the State Gaming Commission to apply for a license. And they did, they got one. And that's kind of how it started. And to that same line of thought, it came up, well, did you in fact notify the communities of this change in what we'd been doing in the past, say allowing, because they never had put gaming in a grocery store. So they didn't. But they assured us during that meeting that they were going to I can't say they do it because they haven't done it yet, but they're going to modify their rules for letting you notice about any changes that happen in your community. And that goes for the whole state, not just Rock Springs. There's just no notice given. So this is all about rules they promulgate, which is kind of squishy area when it comes to just exactly how they actually do things for statute, as per statute. So we're going to try to get you notification. That's the goal. So the cities will be notified when things change in your community. So at least you can then voice, I don't know, pro, con, maybe you don't care. But I think you deserve to be notified. Just kind of down that one line of thought. So there's an issue. They found it. They're dealing with it. They're working with Smiths currently, trying to figure out a path forward. But it looks like, it's going to be months before it reopens. until they get a resolution, because the way the meetings work, nothing travels too quickly at the speed of government. So I think that's the other issue with gaming. Now, the next one would be is we dealt with being able to have a level of proficiency in English while driving commercial vehicles. So what that amounts to is that local PD, the sheriff's department, will be allowed to enforce this under state statutes with the guidance of federal guidance for how to test to see if there's a level of proficiency that's acceptable, and with a fine. It's a $1,000 fine for the first time. This is a straight $1,000 fine. The second offense is another $1,000 fine, plus a misdemeanor charge of $1,000. So $1,000 for the first time, $2,000 for the second time. And they have people that I've caught twice. And when they do, it's at that point they can pull their license, and which I think, frankly, I agree with. I mean, you get caught twice and you haven't resolved the problem, and you're driving a heavy commercial truck and you don't have a basic understanding of English. I'm concerned about our community and public safety, not about tomatoes rotting on the side of the road because they chose to have a person drive a vehicle that was inappropriate. So, and that kind of wraps it up, Mayor. I just want to end by saying we're getting into the legislative season, and I think it's time to kind of communicate if there's something you'd like for me to do for you. I need to know about that, and for me to have a conversation with the body on what we can do.
Thank you, sir. Council, do you have questions or comments for Senator Kolb?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming again, Senator Kolb. This unfortunately has nothing to do with gaming or poor English-speaking truck drivers, but with the nuclear plant that was supposed to go to Bar None getting pulled and moving to Tennessee, do you guys in the Senate and the House have any plans to address so we don't lose the one going up in Kemmer and any future large-scale businesses that may attempt to come to Wyoming?
Well, Mayor, Councilor Hickerson, yeah, I'm pro-nuclear. I think it can be done responsibly. And frankly, to sum that up, I think it should be up to the Sweetwater County, City of Rock Springs, the authority having jurisdiction to make that decision. I don't like the idea that Bar None controls the state of Wyoming because of certain circumstances. However, there's things that have changed because of that scenario, and we've lost a company coming in, whether it be located in Bar None or Sweetwater County, wherever. I always believe it's best up to our local elected officials to make that decision. Frankly, there's a lot of places it fits. I haven't heard if it affected. I have heard nothing about effect up there in Kimmer. I've heard nothing that's changed. We did have a discussion, though, about nuclear transport of materials, and someone brought up I don't know where they really got it from yet. I haven't seen the data, that there was some problem with the casks, which is obviously important if there is. But frankly, for me, I'm tired of people kind of looking at the internet and coming up with stuff they believe is true because they've seen it on the internet. I'm okay with that. Good things can come out of it, but there has to be, trust with verification. You got to see data. So I'm very disappointed, just to sum it up, Councilor, Mayor, that's what happened. I'm not leadership. I will tell you the sentiment. I think the Senate's pro local choice. I mean, from what I hear from my co-senators, the House maybe not so much when it comes to this. They got some other winds blowing different directions over there. I'll just say thank God I'm not in the House. I'm in the Senate, and I'm happy to be there and serve you folks.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Senator Kolb, thanks for coming down and informing us on the gaming. I saw the machines going to Smith's and thought that was a red flag right off of the bat. I don't support the machines in town. I've seen them wreck homes and cause a lot of trouble. I'm confused how gambling is illegal in the state of Wyoming, yet the machines are legal. And there's a lot to learn. I don't know how they're regulated. I feel that they're very profitable. on the top end and taking advantage of a lot of people within our community and taking money out of circulation. So if there's anything that I can do to help, I'm here for a resource, but appreciate you coming to inform us how those machines ended up in Smiths.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman. I'll say it isn't our local people that were doing this, and I'll just name the names Jenkins. It's not them. They have nothing to do with this. So it's kind of giving a black eye to everybody. Whether I agree with some of your statements about gaming isn't a panacea, but on the same hand we have to balance it with what everyone else would like, and I can't control people's other good or bad actions. Because we kind of live in a free country. Even though I agree we have to keep on top of this because we don't want to turn into Vegas. But on the same hand, about your question about constitutionality, you're technically right. So this is a loophole that was developed by the legislative process before I was there to allow gambling, in the state of Wyoming, because there's skill games or, there's different kind of get out of jail cards here for how they ended up doing this. But mostly it goes back to this community and you're the elected people. What you want to do kind of rules. And I'd like to give you that choice, I guess, is the reason for the local control bill. But point well taken, Councilor, Mayor.
So is it, I guess one last question, is it live horse racing that allows the machines to be permissible? How exactly does that work?
Mayor, Councilor Petrie, yes, that is exactly right. That's the hierarchy. So I'll just inform everybody that clearly the majority of folks support live horse racing, right? The issue is that the HHR machines, historical horse racing, I'm sorry I use those acronyms or abbreviations because I can't keep track of them myself. They are what fund it. Now the question comes down to how much is the percentage of the purses that come out of the HHR machines. This is a very, very complex issue about a lot of numbers. So we have yet to tackle that. I'll assure you, Mayor and Council, that we are going to look at the percentages that go back to the purses because right now it's not set in statute. There's not even a floor, which bothers me because it's about how the horsemen negotiate. Well, I think we should be more percentage certain as a bottom line to that. But that's kind of another, Mayor and Council, it's really easy to go off on a tangent. And, you ever see that joke about yelling squirrel into the dog? That's about what this is like with legislators. There's so many things that haven't been taken care of for all these years. This thing has gotten to be a huge problem. And we're trying to take one bite at a time out of this to solve the problem. And that's the reason why it's kind of limited to the topic we're dealing with. And also there's another draft bill, Mayor, that deals with these machines going in retail liquor license locations. I got to be careful how I say this. I'm not as adept as Commissioner is about talking on liquor licenses, but we're going to try to tailor it. And frankly, the goal is to get them out of the public view in the grocery store side of it. I think we have to clearly allow them, as we do allow them now with full retail liquor licenses. We can't do what's called a taking, legally. It isn't fair to the people that can do it. But we can say we don't think they belong in a grocery store. I mean, they've kind of stretched the rules a little bit. So we are trying to address that. And then the shielding idea that they can't be seen by people under 21 years old, that's another issue. Those two things I think are doable.
Thank you.
Council. I would just like to say thank you. I was really floored when I was getting my groceries and I looked over to see gaming machines. It was complete whoa, how is this even legal? And the city was certainly not made aware that was occurring. And so I appreciate your work there. And I appreciate you coming here this evening to provide this information to the council and myself and the public. I really see around these sort of issues that have such a huge impact on our communities that our role is to provide the education and information to the citizens, and then they decide what is right for us. So I very much appreciate your support of local control. and making sure that I don't have to argue with my 10-year-old that historic horse racing is really not for her. So thank you, sir.
Well, and thank you for your comments. Look forward to working with mayor and council in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Shirley Sukeli.
Mayor and Councilman, my name is Shirley Ann. Is there something I can say or I can't say? Is there certain things that we can say or can't, or?
Because
Because you're making little changes, so I'm,
right. So in the resolution, your right to public comment is not restricted, but if it is about an area that the council and I do not have jurisdiction over, then I'll redirect anyone to the appropriate authority.
oh, all right, thank you. Mayor, Councilman, I'd like to praise the city councilman. He's very brave, and sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do, but sometimes we have to show that there are biased people. And I'd like to praise Rick Malonis. I know what he said about not, reading his bills and claims or his packet and that. But you know what, Mayor, he does. But he wanted to show, I have wanted to show before the bias in the newspapers, like, Al Harris that owns the Sweetwater Now, and also the Rocket Miner, that somebody out of town owns that. If you notice, do you not notice, Mayor, that how it's always one-sided? It's always, they talk to everybody else, but they don't talk about the person that has made accusations. That is, do you understand what I'm saying? That's,
I do, and I very much appreciate your comments, but they would be more appropriate for the Rocket Miner and Sweetwater Now.
they're here.
Well, then you should talk to them,
Well, he's here.
because we don't have any authority or jurisdiction over those organizations.
Oh, the game we play. I see what you're saying. Now, just one more real fast. Do I have time? When you and I sat in your office, is it not true? Because you would know for a fact. We sat there and we talked about a lot of things, and I praised you, and I thought you were the greatest thing, the Mama's apple pie, because you just was mayor and you were doing all these pretty neat things and stuff like that. And then I had some concerns. Do you remember that? One of my concerns is you talk a lot. And don't get me wrong. I mean, you're the one that's doing all the talking and stuff. And it's like you've asked them, do you have something to say? And they'll say no and stuff like that. Is it not true, as God is my witness, that you said that they come to this meeting and they don't look at their packets, they just open it up there?
No, ma'am, that is absolutely not true.
Are you kidding me?
Nope, I'm not
You
joking.
tell me that.
I can't be responsible for your memory, but I certainly did not
But
say
how
that.
about yours? Remember something God knows for a fact. And as God is my witness, as that was said, because I just thought it was wrong that you did all the talking and they didn't. That's why I asked you the comment. But I can see where it's coming, and thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Ms. O'Keefe.
You have a good time.
You too.
See you next time.
Yes, ma'am, we always look forward to it.
I know you do.
Okay, our final public speaker this evening is Mike Squirts.
Your Honor, counselors, good evening. So I am Mike Scores. I represent the Old Timer Civic Center. Tonight, I just simply wanted to express our gratitude for your continued support, the council's support for our effort, Mr. Sievert and his amazing staff for their continued support. And we simply look forward to the continued partnership with all of you in this effort. So that's really it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Council, do you have any questions or comments?
I'll see you Friday.
Yep. See you Friday.
Okay,
Thanks,
very good. Thank you. That brings us to the bills and claims for October 21st, 2025. Council, do we have any action?
Your Honor,
Councilor Petrie.
I'd like to make a recommendation to pull the housing bills from this section. That would be Fund 250 for public housing and Fund 295 for Section 8.
Okay, so we'll pull those vendors under those funds out of bills and claims in general. Is there any further action?
Your Honor,
Councilor
I'd like to
Bingham.
request that Clear Eyes Strategies LLC be removed from the bills and claims.
Very good. Is there any further action? Okay, hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve the bills and claims excluding
Your
funds.
Honor, I had some discussion, sorry.
We don't have a motion yet, sir.
Pardon?
We don't have a motion.
No, I thought you were going to ask about a discussion. Don't you ask about discussion?
No, we'll do a motion and then discussion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
you're fine. So I would look for a motion to approve the bills and claims for October 21st, 2025, excluding funds 250 and 295's vendors and Clear Eyes.
So moved, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Zadi. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demas. Now I would look for discussion.
Your Honor? Yes, Councilman. So, Councilman Hickerson caught me off guard last meeting and asked me a question about bills and claims, and my answer got me in a lot of trouble. I've taken quite a beating the last couple of weeks. Oh my God. For $1,000 a month less taxes? I am crazy. So anyhow, I just wanted to answer Councilman Hickerson's questions now that I've had a minute to think about it. So first off, here's what I've accomplished in the 10 months since I've been here. I helped get the Civic Center a 2-year stay of execution.
Councilman.
Pardon? No, I'm answering his question, sir.
No, but the discussion is about the motion
I'm
to
getting
approve the October 21st bills and claims.
Right.
Not
He asked me the question the same time last time.
Right, but that was last time. So the discussion needs to be pertinent in order to be in order. It needs to be pertinent to these bills and claims.
So you're not going to let me speak?
In order to follow the rules of our business meetings, you're welcome to speak on the October 21st, 2025 bills and claims, but not hold a discussion about past events.
Here we go. These are all the things that I went through since I've been here. Bills and claims. Don't ever say I didn't do bills and claims. Trina, I didn't leave the meeting early last time.
Councilman,
Check the
Councilman, you are
video.
out of order. That is
Why don't
not
you
how
put
business
another,
meetings work. Councilman
editorial?
Malonis, you are out of
Okay?
order.
Thank you.
Sir.
Call me. I'll give you some more information.
You are out of order. Can we please have an appropriately conducted business meeting? Is there further discussion on the October 21st, 2025 bills and claims, excluding funds 250, 295, and the payment to Clear Eyes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Councilor Hickerson.
Matt, I talked to you a little bit about it earlier, but while reviewing the bills and claims, I noticed Elwood Staffing had a lot of open positions that we were paying for, 11 to be exact. Could you explain to myself and the public as to why those say open, but they're charging us money for them?
Your Honor, Councilor Hickerson, so the line items for the bills and claims list come from the purchase orders. So it's basically when they set up the purchase order at the beginning of the year or have done any change orders to the purchase order, that's when the line item descriptions get updated. So at one point, those were open slots. However, through the year, we pay the invoices that we get from Elwood, and the process for that is the line items get charged based on the invoices, which are matched to the field orders that the supervisor and department head approve, which also gets matched to the timesheets from Elwood that are also approved by the supervisors. So there is a lot of detail behind it. There were positions charged to that line item, but they were open at the time, so it's kind of just a timing difference between the PO and the invoice date and payment.
Okay, so I shouldn't expect to see them next 2 weeks from now, I guess? On all these currently open ones, those should be off the list by then, right? If the PO is all paid off.
assuming there's no other invoices to be charged back, because those positions, they're temporary, Elwood positions, so people come and go in those positions quite often. So maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Is there further discussion about Councilor Zadi?
I just quick, and I don't know if this is what you're getting at. We're not paying for something we're not getting. Basically.
Correct.
Yes.
There were services rendered that
Yes, yeah.
now read open for their smart brains, little brains.
Okay.
My apologies if I didn't explain that properly, Your Honor.
No worries.
You get into a lot of nuance with how the purchase order is set up with budget versus how it's paid ultimately based on the invoices and the statements. So,
Very good. Further discussion?
Your Honor.
Councilor Petrie.
I have two questions, actually. With pulling the housing moving forward, is it okay if I vote and not abstain on
Yeah.
that since we're separating those payments?
That's why we're separating it out. One, it is more transparent for the public to understand what's going on. And two, then it allows you to vote on the rest of the city's bills.
Okay.
And then we'll do a separate motion for each of those that we've pulled out.
Okay. And so just for the public, the clarification why we separated that is that there's a housing payment that goes to Pedri Investments, and that's why I've been abstaining from the vote. And the second question is to Councilman Malonis, is there anything on this bills and claims that will prevent you from voting?
No, they look really good.
Okay, very good. Is there further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, which brings us to, I would look for a motion to approve the vendor payments in funds 250 and 295 being public housing and section 8 respectively.
Your Honor,
Councilor Zadi,
move to approve.
is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demus. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilors Thompson and Pedri abstaining. And then I would look for a motion for the payment to Clear Eyes.
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demus. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Bingham abstaining. Okay, that brings us to new business. We have two items. First is a request from, oh, good Lord, thank you, Jeannie. I've got so many notes on my page I can't read. Next up, we have salaries for October 7th, 2025. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve salaries for October 7th, 2025.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hanson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay, the motion carries with Councilor Thompson abstaining. Now we have the request under new business from Engineering Operations and Public Services for permission to fill a vacant water distribution system operator 1 or 2 position in the Water Department. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus?
I make a motion to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to a request from the Parks and Recreation Department to allow open containers in downtown Rock Springs and at Bunning Park from November 29th, 2025 through January 1st, 2026 to coincide with Christmas in the Park at Bunning Park. Do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Hanson?
I move to approve this request.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Demus. Is there discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Zadi.
I guess concerns that I have are, how's this going to open up for people bringing their own, walking around the park and drinking? I think, this has been, it was a good event last year, a good family event, Christmas and everything else. I have concerns with opening this up open container, that we're going to have a lot more people bringing their own down and kind of turning it into more than just a family gathering and a family event. So I think we need to think about what we're doing here. We had a good, successful event with it. I would like to see that continue. And I think a lot of people liked it because it was a family event and a family time of year and a holiday that really brings family together. So just kind of caution the council on what we're deciding here.
Before I reach out to my department heads, is there further discussion from the council?
Your Honor.
Councilor
I've
Thompson.
spoken a little bit with JJ and with Danielle over that, and I think we may need a little bit more work on this instead of doing it for that entire time frame. Set up when they're having events, maybe on a Friday or Saturday nights, not have it free for all, and have it where you get that the vendors that would come in and put in for the permits like they do for other events that we could approve, and just for during that 1 month period, Fridays and Saturday nights. But I would like to possibly table this or and then meet with Rob and Danielle and JJ and the URA people and see if we can come up with a compromise.
Is that a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay, so as I've learned, motions to table take primacy. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion to table by Thompson with a second by Councilor Zadi. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of tabling this, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Hickerson? Okay, so any abstaining? Motion to table carries with Councilor Hickerson voting no. Okay, very good. That brings us to resolutions. First up, we have Resolution 2025-130.
A resolution accepting and approving a client services agreement between Elwood Staffing Services and the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs, Wyoming, and Matthew L. McBurnett as city clerk of the City of Rock Springs to execute said agreement on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-130.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Thompson. Is there discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Bingham?
just further clarification, I'm not clearly understanding the request. Is that if someone could just explain what Elwood Staffing is doing? Is it recruiting someone? Is that what it's for?
If we are unsuccessful in securing an electrical inspector, we will lose home rule and be at the mercies of the state to do our inspections, which would basically cripple businesses' ability and private folks' ability to do anything for months. These positions are very difficult to find folks for. It turns out that while folks are well paid in the city, when you compare what somebody with those qualifications would make in private industry, it's not a great comparison, and it is difficult to find somebody who is that highly qualified who also wants to work for government and deal with the sometimes crankiness that comes their way. So in an effort to secure that position, the request is to allow them to serve as a headhunting organization and find us someone. Okay, is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries unanimously, taking us to Resolution 2025-131.
A resolution accepting and approving an amendment to the agreement for engineering services with HDR Engineering, Inc., and authorizing Max Mickelson as mayor of the City of Rock Springs to execute said amendment on behalf of said city.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demas?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-131.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor.
Counselor Hickerson.
Paul, could you walk us through, or maybe it's you, walk us through why we feel this fee adjustment or fee schedule adjustment is needed?
Your Honor, Counselor, I believe Matt would probably be able to explain the reasoning for this. It's, yeah, I'll let
SI
maybe
engineer.
Matt do that.
Your Honor, Counselor Hickerson, so this work is being done as part of a grant with the Department of Transportation. And when we submitted our draw request for the work to be done, they required us to match the consultant's wages on their bill to what they actually are instead of just in their proposal, is how I understand it. So they rejected our request until we approved this amendment. It's no increase to the total contract, it's just an increase to the detail of the consultants working on the contract, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So basically it's a bookkeeping thing required by the Department of Transportation to match the invoice with the rates that they had spelled out in the proposal.
Yeah. Your Honor, Counselor Hickerson, what occurred is in their proposal, they only listed the primary people working on the project. Well, when they invoice, you have a administrative type staff, secretarial. Those were not listed in the proposal. They would not accept the billing because those were not part of the rate structure in the proposal. So this is to align it, I guess, with their billing.
Cleanup language.
It's somewhat cleanup and allowing us to get reimbursed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, this brings us to Resolution 2025-132.
A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs accepting and approving an HAI group loss prevention grant in the amount of $385,800 for electrical system upgrades at certain public housing units of the Rock Springs Housing Authority and authorizing the Director of Housing, April Thompson, to complete the online loss prevention fraud reimbursement form.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Demus.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-132.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Hickerson. Is there discussion? Councilor Zadi.
Great work on that. Something I know is probably needed pretty desperately in some of those units is their age and the electrical systems are becoming obsolete, I guess, or a lot of wear and tear. So that'll help tremendously. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime you can find us almost $400,000 of an OMENCH grant, we're going to be really excited. Okay, further discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Abstaining.
Okay,
Abstaining.
motion carries with Councilors Thompson and Pedri abstaining. Okay, that brings us to Resolution 2025-133.
A resolution of the governing body of the City of Rock Springs accepting and approving an updated fee schedule for the Rock Springs Planning and Zoning Department.
Thank you. Council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor.
Councilor Hickerson.
Move to approve Resolution 2025-133.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Pedri. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Melanos.
you call it a fee, but it's really a tax. So you're increasing our taxes. I'm seeing some of these things. This is a 100% increase. This is an 800% increase. I see big increases, 300%. So I just wondering how you can justify all these increase in our taxes by 400%.
Your Honor and Council, sorry. With the fees being stuck in ordinance, those just recently got approved at, I believe it was the last council meeting on the third reading. We didn't have the time and availability to update the fees. All the normal, well, I shouldn't say all the normal, but there's a lot of other fees in the city that get updated annually on the fee schedule. We haven't been able to do so. So the last time the planning and zoning fees were actually updated was in 2014, so it's been a few years. I did a comparison between us, Cheyenne, Casper, Gillette, and Laramie, as shown on that Excel sheet. I tried to be reasonable and fair because I know it is, on paper it looks like a big increase, but given inflation, the cost of, doing business, a lot of these fees barely pay for postage. They don't pay for the time for us to put those in for our wage that we're spending, putting those applications in, processing those. All the printouts that we have to do, just supplies with color and paper, printing out different site plans for different projects. So I got the fees proposed here. I tried to aim on the lower end as compared to everyone to make sure that we're being fair and reasonable. As you can see, Gillette hasn't been updated since 2014. Laramie, 2016, Casper 2017. Cheyenne was the most recent. So a lot of them we're just getting to even ground with Gillette back in 2014, and we're in 2025.
Was, taxation without representation, was this publicly posted anywhere?
Councilor Malonis,
Compliment?
there's a fundamental difference between a tax and a fee. A tax is something that is collected that has an indirect benefit from everyone. A fee is something that is collected to offset cost. So to use your analogy, if you go golfing and rent a golf cart, that fee is a tax. And they're fundamentally different. Unfortunately, words have distinct meanings.
Well, was it publicly advertised?
I'm not sure on the fee schedule. Matt may be able to answer.
Your Honor, no, we basically changed the fee schedule by resolution, so.
So it was in the sense that our agendas are published.
Correct.
And the materials are published for people to review.
Okay, one last question. This city planner is a very, very important job. What is your
Councilor
degree in?
Malonis, if you're going to ask about a specific city employee as a councilman, that needs to be handled in an executive session. Rules
All right, thank you.
apply
Thank
to
you.
everyone, sir.
Your Honor,
Councilor Zadi.
if I could, just to that discussion, again, let the public know that these are fees that if someone requests a service from the city for things like a major site plan, minor site plan adjustment, parcel consolidation, conditional use permits, childcare conditional use permit, floodplain variance, the list goes on. It's for services that are provided. When staff is asked to perform certain duties, it does come with the cost at time of their time to do this. And we're trying to offset some of those costs with these fees. So it's not a tax, like what was commented. It is a fee for service. I just kind of wanted to point out some of what we're talking about here.
Thank you. Further discussion.
Your Honor.
Councilor Megan.
Thank you, Chandler, for your efforts here. I do have some concerns. I completely understand, just in the county and the planning and zoning fees that we've had to work on. And it has been a long time since they've been updated. My concern is some of the increases percentage-wise are greater. Just take, for instance, an appeal is going from $50 to $435, which is a pretty big increase. I don't know if there's a way to increase these fees, but, to go back and look at those. On this resolution, I'm going to be a no vote tonight, just based on some of the ones I have concerns on. With such increases, I understand some of the fees, but some of them have a pretty drastic increase, so thank you.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay, so that's 3 ayes. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Yeah, that's 4 nays. We better do a roll call.
Councilor Pedri,
No.
Bingham,
No.
Malonis,
No.
Thompson,
No.
Hickerson,
No.
Hanson,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Mayor Mickelson.
Yes. So the motion fails on a 5-4. So Chandler, we'll have to go back to the drawing board on that, sir. And then we will look for that at our November 4th meeting. Perhaps you could reach out to the council members who had concerns about the increases to find out which ones they specifically have discomfort with, and we can make adjustments. Okay. That brings us to our ordinances. We only have one on a third reading, which is ordinance 2025-16.
An ordinance amending Title 11 entitled Business Regulations, Chapter 115 entitled Alcoholic Beverages, and creating Section 115.25 entitled Server Training.
Okay, council, do we have a motion?
Your Honor,
Councilor Zadi.
I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2025-16 based on my comments earlier, and I do still have comments that I need clarification on in enforcement and how we're looking to enforce this and what that's going to look like. With some of the feedback from some of the people I talked to and some of the business owners is their concern with what enforcement would look like.
Okay, is there a second for the motion to table?
Second.
Okay, Councilor Thompson. Is there discussion on the motion to table? Hearing none, Matt, will you run us through, please?
Councilor Bingham,
Aye.
Malonis,
Aye.
Thompson,
Yes.
Hickerson,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Zadi,
Yes.
Demus,
Yes.
Pedri,
Yes.
Mayor Mickelson.
Yes. Okay, that is tabled unanimously. Okay, our next ordinance is on the table, so I'd look to see if, after Matt reads it, if there is a motion to bring it off the table. If not, it dies.
An ordinance amending Title 3 entitled Administration, Chapter 30 entitled City Officers and Employees, Section 30.046 entitled Council Members.
Is there a motion to remove this ordinance from the table? Okay. Hearing none, that brings us to our final ordinance of this evening, which is on its second reading, 2025-18.
An ordinance amending Title 3 entitled Administration, Chapter 30 entitled City Officers and Employees, and creating Section 30.48 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Rock Springs entitled Ethics and Conduct.
Okay, council, is there discussion around this ordinance? Reminding you, we'll look to take action at our next meeting.
Your Honor.
Councilor Malonis.
Just a couple of questions. So it says the presiding officer, would that be the mayor?
The mayor, or in my absence, the president.
So we got these words, harassment, unwanted behavior, intimidation. Who decides if those are valid, or who makes that decision?
The body is my understanding. Councilor Beck, or Mr. Beckwith.
Mayor, council, that decision would be made after a complaint is filed by the governing body in a hearing that's provided for by the ordinance.
Thank you.
One last question. Isn't all that stuff already covered by laws and rules in this country?
So in discussion with other municipalities, it became glaringly apparent that we are an exception rather than the rule for having our own agreed upon, commonly understood code of ethics, which is why this was brought forward. Okay, is there any further Councilor Pedri?
I have just one question regarding social media. How does this code of ethics pertain if someone's using like their personal account to represent the city and making commentary such as that?
Mr. Beckwith?
Mayor, Councilor Pedri, that only deals with official city accounts and not with the use of personal Facebook accounts.
Okay.
So it's acceptable to use your personal account to discuss city business, just for clarification?
Yes, it's every councilor's right under the First Amendment to do so.
Okay.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned.